The building was still half asleep when Marcus pushed his mop across the marble floor of the corporate tower's main entrance. Outside, the sky was painted in soft shades of gray and blue, the kind of quiet morning that came just before the city roared to life. For Marcus, mornings like this were familiar. As a single dad and a janitor, he worked the earliest shift so he could pick up his daughter from school every afternoon without fail. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, sat on a bench near the glass doors, swinging her legs and humming softly while coloring in a worn notebook. Marcus glanced at her often, the way parents do when the world feels just a little too big for someone so small. As employees began to arrive, luxury cars lined the parking area. One in particular stood out, a sleek black sedan pulling up near the front entrance. Marcus recognized it instantly. That car belonged to the CEO. Marcus stepped outside to empty his bucket when something caught his eye. Near the front tire of the sedan there was a dark, glistening trail spreading slowly across the pavement. His heart skipped. He knelt slightly, pretending to adjust his shoe, and looked closer. The smell hit him immediately. Sharp, metallic, wrong. Years ago, before life took a different turn, Marcus had worked in auto maintenance. He knew what leaking fuel looked like. He also knew how dangerous it could be. The driver's door opened. The CEO stepped out, phone pressed to his ear, distracted, confident, already halfway toward the building. Marcus's mind raced. Security wasn't nearby. There wasn't time to explain, to argue, to be polite. "Don't get in the car," Marcus yelled. His voice echoed across the parking lot, cutting through the morning calm like a siren. Conversation stopped. The CEO froze mid-step, turning with a look of pure shock. People stared at Marcus, the janitor, the nobody, who had just shouted at one of the most powerful men in the city. Lily stood up suddenly, fear in her eyes. Marcus didn't care who was watching. He pointed toward the car, his voice urgent now. "Something's wrong with it." For a brief second, no one moved. Then the smell of fuel grew stronger. And in that moment, everyone realized the warning had come just in time. The CEO lowered his phone slowly, his confident expression replaced by confusion, then concern. He glanced at the car, then back at Marcus. "What did you say?" he asked sharply. "Step away from the vehicle," Marcus said, already moving closer despite the stares. "Now." Security finally reacted. 2 guards rushed forward, positioning themselves between the CEO and the car. One of them noticed the dark liquid spreading beneath the chassis and raised his hand. "Sir, please move back." The CEO took 2 steps away just as a faint hiss escaped from under the hood. "Get everyone clear," a guard shouted. Marcus grabbed Lily and pulled her behind a concrete pillar. His heart pounded as people scattered. Within seconds, a sharp pop cracked the air, followed by a small burst of flame licking up from beneath the engine. It wasn't a massive explosion, but it was enough to prove one thing. Marcus had been right. Fire suppression systems kicked in, and security extinguishers smothered the flames almost immediately. The parking lot fell into stunned silence, broken only by the distant wail of approaching emergency sirens. The CEO stared at the smoking car, his face pale. He turned slowly toward Marcus. "That man," he said to security, pointing, "is the reason I'm still standing here." An hour later, Marcus sat in a quiet security office, Lily curled beside him with a blanket and a juice box someone had kindly offered. His mop and bucket stood forgotten by the door. Across the table, the CEO leaned forward, no phone this time, no assistants hovering nearby. "You saved my life," the CEO said plainly. "How did you know?" Marcus hesitated, then answered honestly. "I used to work auto maintenance years ago. I recognized the smell and the leak." The CEO studied him. "Why are you a janitor now?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Because my wife passed away. Because schedules matter when you're raising a kid alone. Because sometimes you do what you have to do." Something shifted in the room. The CEO nodded slowly, absorbing every word. "What you did this morning," he said, "most people wouldn't have. They would have looked away." Marcus glanced down at Lily, then back up. "I couldn't, not with her watching." The CEO stood, extending his hand. "Then let me make sure this moment changes more than just my day." Marcus shook his hand, not yet knowing how much his life and Lily's was about to change. By afternoon, the building buzzed with a different kind of energy. The damaged sedan had been towed away. Investigators had come and gone. And word of the morning's near disaster had already traveled through every floor. Yet in a quiet corner office overlooking the city, Marcus sat stiffly on a leather chair, unsure where to place his hands. Lily sat beside him, feet dangling, fascinated by the view. The CEO entered without entourage or announcement and closed the door himself. "I've reviewed the incident report," he said, taking a seat across from Marcus. "Security confirmed the fuel line was deliberately tampered with. If you hadn't spoken up when you did..." He stopped, exhaling. "I wouldn't have made it to this chair." Marcus nodded, uncomfortable with praise. "I just did what anyone should." The CEO smiled faintly. "No, most people don't." He slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a simple document, an offer letter. Marcus blinked, confused. "This is a position in our Facilities and Safety Division," the CEO explained. "Day hours, full benefits, training included, and," he glanced at Lily, "flexibility for school schedules." Marcus's throat tightened. "Sir, I don't have a degree." "I know," the CEO said calmly. "You have judgment, courage, and experience. Those are harder to teach." Lily looked up at her father. "Does this mean you won't be so tired all the time?" she asked softly. Marcus swallowed. I think it might." The CEO stood and walked to the window. "When I was a kid," he said, "someone took a risk on my father, changed our entire future. I never forgot that." He turned back. "Today, you gave me my future back. Let me return the favor." Marcus rose slowly, emotion breaking through his composure. "Thank you," he said, voice unsteady. "Not just for me. For her." The CEO extended his hand again, firmer this time. "Welcome aboard." As they left the office together, employees paused, watching the janitor walk the hallway with a little girl at his side. No mop, no bucket, just quiet dignity. Marcus felt something unfamiliar settle in his chest. Hope. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Marcus and Lily stepped out of the building hand in hand. The same place that had almost witnessed tragedy now marked a beginning. Sometimes it takes one brave moment, one shouted warning to change the direction of a life. And sometimes the person everyone overlooks is the one who saves everything.